Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is gonna be a little long. I wanted to include everything about Firebase and how you can connect your Expo app to Firebase so that you can use different services that it provides. As an example, we are also going to set up authentication and the whole logic, the flow, sign in, sign up, log out. And so we're gonna do that for both Android and iOS. As you see here, I have a demo over here with the iOS and Android simulators open. So in the Firebase console right now, I don't have any account. I'm going to go to sign up here and create an account with a simple email, address, and then a password. We don't do much of validation in this video. Mainly focuses on making the logic work with Firebase. You will obviously add your own validation in your applications based on the requirements that you have. So when I do sign up over here, it's going to sign me up, take me to the main application. You'll see in the terminal over here that I see the information about the user. I also have the user in the Firebase console as well. I can also log out, so if I do sign out, it's gonna sign me out. User signed out, and we see that the user is null now. Same process you can do in iOS as well. So I can use the same account to log in, or I can create a new account. So just to use the same account, for example, I'm going to do to just type that same email, but I'll provide the wrong password. You can see that it's gonna get me authenticated failed, so I need to do the right password over here. Then I hit the sign in and it's gonna log me in, and you can see the same flow that we had for Android. We see also the information about the user here. I can also sign out over here as well. So this is what we're gonna build. Most of the UI we actually built it in previous videos, and so this one we're gonna kind of have a bunch of protected routes, and then our sign in and sign up routes that will be displayed to the user if they're not logged in. So the login, the whole thing is also managed with by Firebase. So it will use some kind of storage on the device, and if we're logged in and then we close the app, reopen, we're still gonna be logged in, and it's going to take us to the actual application, not the sign in sign up page. So that's also gonna be taken care of. Alright, like I said, this is gonna be a long video. Hopefully you guys bear with me. I may sound a little bit tired during the video. I'm not tired. It just took me a long time to make it happen, just recording and all the things that go with it. I'm typing and speaking, so it's just a lot of work together. So please be patient with me, and I hope you enjoy the video. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to follow the instructions on the official documentation for React Native Firebase website. Just so you know, I will put all the links to all these websites, web pages that I'm going to show you in the description box below the video, so you can access them easily. And of course, as always, I'll have a link to the GitHub repo for the code as well. So with that, on this React Native Firebase website, you'll see that you need to have a React Native project going on. We have an Expo project, that's fine. We'll see how we can make that work with this library. And then we also need to create a new Firebase project. So if you click on this link over here, It's gonna take you to the console.firebase.google.com. Make sure you're logged in using the Gmail account that you want to create the Firebase project with, and then click on this create a project. This might look a little bit different on your side, but the idea is basically you're adding a new project or creating a new project. Once you click on that, it's gonna ask you for a name. I'm going to give it a name, and then for this project identifier down here, it's always a good thing if you can get rid of these random numbers or letters and make it look a little bit more presentable. You can actually make sure this is more relevant to your project name. Right now it's just like something I'm creating for this tutorial, so I can also kind of make it look like that, and then save it, and then continue over here. Google Analytics, let's keep it as it is, and then you might see a little bit of different things like checkboxes to accept terms and conditions and things like that. I've already gone through those in previous projects that I made here, so that's why it's not asking me. You may be asked to click your country, so make sure to choose those. It's not complicated, so all you need to do is just to do as you need to, and then once you're done with that create project, click on that, and then let the project build. Right, once the project is ready, you'll see this message over here, and then you can click continue. That's going to take you in your project over here. You can see all your projects if you go back to the console and then go back to this project that you just created. You can see everything relevant to your project. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create Android and iOS apps for our project because we need some files that will be downloaded to be used with our application. So I'm gonna do the Android one right now. Let's click on Android over here. We're building an app, so you have to see something. You should see something like this. If you don't, you can go to the project settings, and then you can also create the application from here. So I'm gonna do Android, and then over here the package name must be similar to what you have for your project in the app.json file. So this is the code that we have as of now, and it's just the final code for the previous videos that I have created. In the iOS section and Android section in this app.json file, you should see a package name for Android and also a bundle identifier for iOS. When I was setting this up in the video that I did previously, I made sure that both of these are the same. It's just a good common practice, so we have them both as the same name, and that's what we need to paste over here. So we have kind of like reverse domain kind of thing over here. You can add a nickname for this, so it could be, for example, RN iOS for me, whatever you want to have here. So just making sure you will know it is iOS, so you don't have to really specify it here. Or actually in our case it's Android, so no need to really spell it out. For the sign-in certificate, you don't have to add it right now. You can add it later on if needed. So I'm just gonna click register app here, and then that's gonna take a little bit. And then what I need to do is to download the Google services.json file, and then I will add that to my project in a bit, but we don't need to do anything else here. You can just click next, and continue to console. You should see under your project settings over here that you have an Android project here. you go to project overview, you'll also see that over here that you have created it. And then now I'm going to add that to the root directory of my project. As you can see, I've added it, google-services.json file, and we need to also connect our app to this, kind of making sure that our app knows about it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We actually are going to add this to get ignore and then use Expo application services secrets to keep track of that, because you don't want to push this to GitHub or just have your build include this directly. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We do need to add another app also for iOS, but before that I'll let you know that we need to actually redo this for iOS, so you can just watch what I'm doing right now, and then we'll get to how we actually, for production, you need to create the iOS one. So add app here, I'm going to do Apple, and then again this has to be the same bundle identifier that I have for iOS over here. Copy and paste it. This one can be RN journey dash iOS. Again, doesn't matter, you'll know it's iOS. We don't have App Store ID yet, so register app, we'll leave it as it was, empty, and then in a few seconds we're gonna see now we can download the Google service info file here, and that we will be also adding to our project. The rest of it you can click next and continue to console. You'll see that you have RN Journey iOS, the iOS app also here, and now I'm going to add that to this folder as well. Alright, so I have added that here as well, but the problem with this is that we actually need more information in this Google service info file, information about a client ID and also a reverse client ID, which by default is not included in this info.plist file that Google generated for us. So there is a step that we need to do beforehand, before creating this one, to make sure that those are also included in this file. And this will throw an error when you want to build your development build, basically using Expo application services later on. So I just wanted to show you that what's missing here, and then we're gonna have to actually go back and delete this one over here. So I'm going to for the iOS one, I'm going to remove this app. It's all good because we haven't really used it, so remove the app and it's gone. What we need to do is I put a link to this web page over here, and that you can also check it out. We need to go to the credentials page on our Google console, a Google Cloud Console. Make sure you select the project that you just created on Firebase. This is the one that I created, and then we need to follow the instructions here actually to create that client ID. So as you see here, click create credentials and Auth client ID. So credentials, create credentials, Auth client ID over here, and then here you will probably see this message as I'm seeing here. I need to configure my consent screen. So here, based on your use case, make sure to either select the internal or external. If you have a Google Workspace, they will allow you to select internal, but I don't. And then so I'm gonna I have only the option to select external, and then I can hit create here. And this app information, you can go ahead and fill this out, but you can come back later and update it if needed. As they mentioned here, fill out the initial form. You can edit this later if needed. and click save when done. So I'm gonna do that. Nothing so special here. So you don't have to really fill out all these, as I mentioned, just the required ones: app name and support email. I also added my logo over here. If you have any domains, you can also add over here as well. There is also need for developer contact information, so I'm going to do that as well. Add it over here, my email address, and then save and continue. For this step, also save and continue. You can add test users. No need to do that right now. We can come back later if needed and update these as well. So I'm going to go back to dashboard right now. And now it's good here. We can go back to credentials and create credentials and do OAuth client ID over here. We're going to create client ID for our iOS application, and again, this name over here just used to identify the client in the console. So just you can change it whatever you want. For this one, iOS client ID for Firebase app, or whatever you want to do that here. So this is important. Bundle identifier has to be what we had here again. So come .rn journey, whatever you have in your case. And we don't have app store ID or team ID yet, so I'm going to create these. And now it's going to give me this client ID, or we can also do download this plist over here. So to open that here, you can see that we have a client ID and reverse client ID, version, bundle ID, so everything is here. Now with that, we can go back to our Firebase React Native journey here in Firebase project that we have, and create a new app for iOS. By the way, make sure you don't share these with anyone. These are some like Firebase stuff, so I will be deleting these and creating new ones after this video. So right now I'm just gonna go add an app, iOS. Again, this one, make sure you have the correct bundle identifier, nickname. We can do again, it's optional, but just as always, I do this one. Register app. And if you see this error, you won't probably see this because I created an iOS app originally, and then I deleted it. But the things that I have to go to project settings over there, and the app was pending deletion, the iOS one. So I can go here and then click on three dots and delete now. Again, making sure I check all these, and then delete the app permanently. So that's been deleted. And now I can go back from here, actually just add app. I do iOS this time, and then same bundle identifier, and I do the name for this as well, and then register app. And now this one should work because that one was not deleted. So I'm going to download this Google service info plist file again, and for the rest of it, just click next and continue to console. I have my iOS app over here, and again, don't share these names and IDs with anyone. I will be deleting these after the video is published. And so back to my project over here. Right now, the previous file that I had didn't have the client ID, and so I'm going to replace that with the new one. So now you can see it has been replaced. I have a client ID, I have reverse client ID, and everything else is still there. So this is the way you want it to be. If you don't have the client ID or reverse client ID, it will start throwing errors when you're building the application, either with EAS or probably however you build yours locally, or anyway. So you need to make sure that these are also there. So now we have both these files. The next step is to go back to the React Native Firebase over here, the documentation, and over here we can actually start scrolling down here. Just keep in mind that if you're building your application, you need to make sure that you have the minimum Xcode of 15.2 over here, and so keep that in mind. For the installation of the packages, they have a section for Expo, so we can go to that section. What we need to do is just basically install the base app module, and we are also going to do the auth module because we're going to use that, and I'll let you know why we need to do it now. So I'm going to grab this code over here, copy it over in my terminal. I'm going to do this, and also I'll grab the app auth as well, the auth module, and with that we'll just let this install both of these, and in our package.json we should see both of them over here. So that looks good. Then there is more information about configuring the modules, so we're gonna have to add a few things in our app.json file. First thing is to add this reference to our Google Services.json for Android and the Google Services info plist file that we just downloaded from Firebase connected to our iOS. And the thing to note is that you don't want to push these to GitHub, or these are supposed to be living in your .gitignore file. So what I'm gonna do now is in my .gitignore file, I'm going to add these files. So I have added them now over here, and I can save this gitignore, so making sure these are getting ignored. Now if we want to connect them the way that's been mentioned over here, this is not gonna work, because when we are building the app and we basically EAS is going to look at gitignore also and then ignore everything that's there, so they won't find these two files. So we are going to have to make a little bit of change to that. We're going to, since we are using EAS, Expo Application Services, to build our apps, we can actually use environment variables. So again, I put the link to this page in the description box below the video, but the way it works is that we need to create a secret with a type of file that's pointing out to our Google Services JSON and the Google Service info plist file. First of all, make sure you're logged into your EAS account using EAS login, your username, password, and all that. I'm already logged in, so what I need to do, I'm just going to copy this whole thing over here and then paste it. And then I need to make some adjustments here. So my file, the path is just in the root directory, so /Google Services.json, and then the name is going to be, I'll leave it as it is, Google Services JSON, and that should be it. Just gonna hit enter, and then it's gonna say created a new secret from that file. So what I can do is go to my EAS Expo Application Services account, and in my dashboard I should be able to see secrets. So right here on the left hand side, while you're inside your project, you can select secrets, and you see now that the Google Services JSON file is uploaded here. We're gonna do the same with the Google Services info list file. So I'm gonna copy this whole thing and then make sure over here we'll replace this name, and then for the name I'm going to do iOS services plist. This is up to you, whatever name you want to select over here. So we should be good now, and then I will just hit enter here, and that's also created. Refresh this page, we should see the iOS services plist as well. So we need to copy these, and then go back to React Native Firebase documentation here. We need to actually copy this over here, the Android Google Services under Android right above this package. We can add that, but like I said, we don't want to use it like this, so we actually need to get rid of this whole thing over here. So it's going to be an empty string, and we can do the same thing with iOS as well. So over here right above this bundle identifier, we can do Google Services file as they have here for iOS as well, but we're doing a single empty string over here. The reason is that we cannot use environment variables directly in the app.json file. We actually need to create a file called app.config.ts as they mention over here. So this is JS. We can create a TS version of it. So right click in the root directory where you have app.json, and then over here I'm going to do app.config.ts file, and this is going to dynamically override this app.json file as needed. So the whole thing kind of looks like this. So I have the this config, that everything from this config is coming from the app.json file, and then I can overwrite those here. So I have appconfig.ios.google services file. For this one I can do process.env dot whatever name I picked for the Google services. So this one over here. For the this is iOS, so iOS is this one, the plist file. So I have it here, and then for the Android file I will do the process.env dot that file over here, Google Services JSON, and then I can do that over here. So and this will overwrite the values for iOS and Android in the app.json file, which are currently empty strings, when we do EAS build using Expo Application Services. So it will be using these files that we have already uploaded as secrets to our project directory. So that should be good there. The next thing we need to do, looking at the React Native Firebase documentation, is to add these plugins over here. So we don't have the Crashlytics here, but let's copy the whole thing, and in the plugins I'm going to paste them over here. Like I said, we don't have Crashlytics, we get rid of that. We do need to also make sure that we are setting the use framework for iOS to static over here, and for that I am going to do it this way using Expo build properties. Right now it's giving us a warning that I cannot find this module, so I'm going to save this file, and then I need to do npx expo install that library, enter, and that should also install the library for us. So Expo build services, we should see Expo build properties over here, we should see that, and then that warning is also gone. Now if it's not gone, you can close and reopen your VS Code, and that should be gone. One thing I want to mention here is that I am using an extension called Expo Builds over here. So Expo Tools, sorry. So Expo Tools, it's installed, and that's kind of helping me with auto completing these app.json file, for example, and also eas.json file. So make sure you download that as well and then install it. So with these all set, the next step for us is to build the application. Since we are going to create a new development build using EAS, and EAS has like 30 limits per month for the builds with 15 iOS at most. So we want to make sure that we kind of plan ahead, and the packages, libraries that will require rebuild, we kind of include them all at the beginning, and then we'll take care of the code later on. But for the build, we want to make sure like we include them and install them and include them in if the plugins or like anything in app.json or app.config. So with that being said, now we're ready to build our project. So I'm going to use the Android and iOS. They have two different commands. So for Android emulator and Android devices, you can do EAS build profile development platform Android, and this is set up over here in the EAS.json file. The video that I did about Expo Dev Client, I've explained all these. I put a link to that also up here, so you can go and check that out. So this is right here we have the development and for Android emulator and devices. So I'm gonna hit enter over here, and you'll see some lines over here using remote credentials, and then kind of compressing the files. And right now build is waiting to enter the queue, since we have I'm using the free tier as I mentioned. So it will go through the queue and then it will start. You don't have to wait for this. I'm going to Control C out of it, and then we're gonna do the iOS build for the simulator, and that is using this command that I'm going to copy and paste here, again using what we had in the eas.json file for the development simulator. That's what we have set up for iOS. EAS build profile development simulator platform iOS. If you hit enter here, and you might see an error, you probably will see an error, and that will look like something like this, that basically this error over here, your app.json file is missing the Google services file. It has been mentioned in the React Native Firebase GitHub issues. The problem is that we are using Expo secrets, and then React Native Firebase, when they start building it, they originally build a version some kind of locally, and so that's when it doesn't have access to that secret on EAS. So the best solution I found here, and it's kind of like a workaround that also worked for this person over here, is we can create a local environment variable for this file, and for that you can use export whatever name you had for the environment variable. So in our case it will be iOS services plist that we had here. So export iOS services plist, and that will be pointing to the Google service-info.plist file that we have. So once we do that, now that's saved locally as an environment variable, and then we can do the EAS builder. So EAS build -- profile development simulator platform iOS, and we hit enter here. You'll receive this warning over here that the file specified in the Google services in your app.json is not checked into your repository, and so on and so forth. But since this build is going to happen on EAS, they will have access to that secret, and they can grab that. So we can wait for this build, which is currently in progress, and come back after it's done. I can Control-C out of it. So while our iOS build is happening, we can check the Android distribution is built, and I can go to the build details, and then if I'm using emulator, I can click on these 3 dots and download the build. With the physical device, you can click on this install and scan this QR code, and you'll have access to the same page, and you can download the build on your physical device. But here, since I'm using emulator, I downloaded it, and you can just the APK file that's downloaded, you can drag and drop it on your emulator, and it will install it for you. So I'm going to continue my development on Android, and everything was gonna work similarly on iOS as well. So we'll get to that. I'll show a demo also on iOS after the build is done for that. But here we can start our server over here with npx expose start -- client, and that's the command that we use for Expo development builds. And then if I hit A over here, A key, it's going to open my application on my Android emulator, and it's gonna build it there. And this is what we have right now. It's just the final code that we had from previous videos. We have nested navigation with drawer and then bottom navigations here. And so what we are going to do is to make all this protected, and we'll have a sign in and a sign up screens that will be loaded once we open the app, and if the user has already signed in previously, it will directly take them to this page. Otherwise, it's going to show the sign in screen. So we are using Expo Router as we have talked before. Right now under my app directory, I have these tabs directory, which is basically my profile dashboard and my chat screen over here. And then with that, I also have my drawer, which is my settings screen, and also the tabs, which is my home screen, and the shop screen that I have over here, the folder that we have. And this is something I discussed in a previous video. You can go check that out. I put a link to that as well. What we need to do, since I mentioned everything in here is going to be protected, I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to say protected in parentheses. So that's important because this is not going to be an actual route for us. So I'll create that one here, and I will move everything inside that. So my tabs folder is going to be inside that. I'm going to get lots of errors and stuff because I'm moving things around. So I'm going to actually stop the server here, and I'll get back to running the server later once I've restructured my application. So the tabs will go there, the shop will go also under protected, and also we move this layout and settings also, so all these will have their inside them we have references to other files, so they need to be also updated. I will move the settings as well, so everything is now under protected. We do need to have our main layout file directly under the app folder, so I will create a _layout.tsx file over here, and also the sign in and sign up pages are also going to be here. I'll create a new file, I call it signin.tsx, and also another new file, signup.tsx. We need to move some code around in the original layout.tsx, the main layout.tsx that we had over here. We can actually move most of these into the new layout.tsx file, so I am going to Control A and move everything, Control C, move everything here, and I'm going to change this one to root layout over here, and what we need to do is to fix some of these imports, so I can get rid of these two over here. Then I have my splash screen stuff over here. Again, these are the things that I have explained previously, so go check those videos out. I have my theme stuff happening here, fonts can stay here as well, and then finally for this section we actually will need to move the section for nested navigation to the layout that we have inside the protected routes, because everything there, the nested drawer and bottom navigation are part of our protected route. So over here I just get rid of these, and I can easily actually add a slot over here for now. That will the slot is, by the way, coming from Expo Router, so with that I can also get rid of some of these imports that I have over here, and we should be good right now. Don't worry about this actually is fine, and if you save, maybe close and reopen VS Code, it will go away. I will do that in a minute, but going back to the /layout.tsx, which is under protected. So far we were working on app_layout, so our main root layout file. We kept the splash screen and font loading everything here, and for the rest we just did the slot over here. So with the layout tsx file under app under protected folder, we can get rid of the logic that we already included in the root layout. So I'm going to remove everything regarding fonts and splash screen, and also theming. We don't need the theme provider here either, so get rid of that, and then we can get rid of all these imports that we are not using anymore. And with that, this should be fine. This one, layout.tsx, like I said, I need to restart VS Code to get rid of that error. Alright, so I just restarted VS Code, that's gone away. And let's go to the tabs directory here. I have my profile. Now let's see if I need to fix any of these that needed to be fixed over here. Then probably similar thing here for this file, and then also this over here. So these are again things that we've talked about in previous videos. But right now what I have is my layout, main layout, root layout. I'm taking care of fonts and splash screen and theming. And then inside the protected, all I have is the nested navigation that we had before. So let's run the server again. So npx expo start dev client. I'm going to start it on my Android again, and hopefully everything should still look the same. And you can see that everything is actually as before. We have our drawer here and then bottom navigation over here, so it's all the same. Now we need to take care of our sign in and sign up screens, and also take care of the logic for authentication and rerouting. For the sign in and sign up pages, these are basically going to be very similar to each other. Just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll have, like I said, I have two pages here. You could use state management to switch between the two in one page. So really up to you. I'm just like showing you two different pages here in case you want to, I don't know, this is how you prefer it. But anyways, like I said, the UI is very much the same. So I'm just gonna go grab some code and copy and paste over here, and then I'll show you. So I have the sign in and sign up UI ready here, and basically we have like the safe area view, keyboard over school view, which is coming from this library that I previously used. Very convenient when you have keyboard popping up, tapping outside the input fields closes the keyboard, and also the keyboard won't cover your input areas. So that's for that. We have two text inputs here. One is for email and the other one is for password. I have two states here for the password and email address. Nothing special. In my themes video, I already set up some colors that I can use using the use theme hook from the React navigation. And so I'm using that color for coloring my buttons here, which for the button I'm using the button from React Native Elements, this button element here. I had already previously in a video installed the library, so React Native RN Firebase and theme, so they're already there. If you don't have them, you can use them. Anyways, this is just UI, so up to you. You can use pressable from just React Native or your own components here. Nothing that we need to worry about. And then I have a clear button that kind of just text that will say create an account in case they don't have an account, and it will push the sign up route over the sign in route. Sign up is also almost exactly the same. We have email and password. Everything is the same, just the button says sign up as opposed to sign in, and also the text below it, instead of saying creating an account, sign up will say already have an account, sign in here. And we'll see how these look like in a minute. Right now in our layout, it's going to this slot is just gonna go and see what we have inside this layout under the protected folder, and there we are not doing anything regarding handling authentication yet. So this is where we will do that and make sure if the user is authenticated, they go there to this drawer and the bottom navigation here. Otherwise they'll see the sign in sign up screen. Before we do the auth part, if there is something we need to do in the Firebase console over here, we need to activate inside this build here authentication. We need to make sure that the sign in method for email password is activated. And when you go there, you probably see like a get started button or something, which will take you here. And we're gonna do email and password, and then we're gonna enable this, save it, and then we will see that email and password is enabled, because that is what we are going to use. And if you go to the authentication page here, usage for React Native Firebase documentation, we've already installed the Auth module, and so we can use what's explained here for the logic that we are going to use. So I'm going to actually it's going to be very similar to what they have here, maybe a little bit different, but I'll copy and paste a little bit of code from what I have over here. So we will need to add a couple of states over here. So I have initializing and the user states coming from React use state over here, and the Firebase auth type we can also use that from the React Native Firebase auth for our because we're using TypeScript. We need to define this over here. Originally the user can be either null, or if we're logged in, it's gonna have a type of user, Firebase user. So we take care of that over here. Then the next thing is using this on auth change the function over here. I can actually copy these and that should be fine for now. I will copy them, make sure we have the use effect from React, and then auth is coming from the auth library over here, so I can add that over here. And then user will also have the same type as what we have here. It's going to be either null or the Firebase auth user. So with that we are basically listening to this on auth changed from the auth function, and if we have a user, we're going to set our user to that user, and then initializing will be done. So we set that to false while we are initializing. That's going to be true, original value is true, and then it's going to return null. Once initialization is over, then we can check for user over here and see if we have user. We'll display this, otherwise we'll show the sign in page, and for that we can actually easily do it this way. So I'm gonna do a conditional over here. If we have user, you show the drawer, otherwise I'll do the sign in page and closing this curly bracket, and that should be it. Let's save it. Since we don't have a user, it's going to take us to the sign in page. So user is null right now. Feel free to add console logs and make sure that you see what you expect, but right now we don't have a user, so we're going to the sign in page. Again, this is the UI that I had. If I click on create an account, it's going to go to sign up page, which is very similar to the sign in page, just the different functionalities we are going to add to each of those files. With that, we also should be ready actually to take care of the sign in and sign up logic. Let's take care of sign up logic first. So we do need to bring the auth library here. So let me go back over here, and then I'll copy this auth library that I had, and for the sign up we're gonna use the create user with credentials. So I'm just copying the whole function over here. So handle sign up is bound to this button over here, the sign up button. So let's go to that page, that sign up button here. So Nothing so complicated. If you've worked with Firebase before, you know they have like these functions. You can use create user with email and password. We already are saving our email and password values in the state. So what happens here is that when we create the user, we want to also redirect it to the sign-in page, to the actual application with the drawer and navigation and all that. For that, we can do router replace our main layout router, and then what that does is going to take a look at our layout file over here. Authentication is changed now, so it's going to see we have a user, and therefore it's going to show the drawer and our main application to us. We can actually do a console log over here to see the user change in this function. So I save this over here, and we already also set up a sign-in method over here. So with that, I'm going to create to go to the sign up page, make sure you're in there, and then I'm just going to create a simple user. So if my email is not valid, actually I'm gonna get an error here. Let's see, where is my sign up? I haven't saved it, so let's save it and then sign up. It's gonna tell me, hey, the email address is invalid. So that kind of server-side validation kind of is happening here in the catch section over here. I'm also showing an alert to the user so that they know. So let's add an actual valid email. Now this is not this doesn't exist, or maybe this does exist, I don't know, but it is at least valid email. And then for the password, I'm just gonna do 1 2 3 4 5 6 and then sign up, and then that is going to show me that a user account created and sign in. Replace with the root layout, and in the root layout we have the console.log user, which has the email that we just provided, and this is the user ID 6BNN. We can go refresh Firebase console, and that's what we see actually here as well. So that's the logic for creating a user. Now we have the user logged in. I need to have a sign out button also to sign the user out. But before that, if I reload this app, just clicking R, hitting R key over here, it's gonna reload it, and it's gonna take us back into the same screen as we're logged in, because it is taking care of storing the session for us and all that. For the sign out, I'm going to actually modify my profile screen over here and add a sign out button here. So again, nothing special, everything will remain the same. I just add a button with the word sign out. This button is also coming from React Native Elements library. And so with the sign out, the logic that we have is also very simple. Handle sign out is auth.signout, and then we say we've been signed out. The rest of the logic will be taken care of by this on auth state change in our root layout. It will recognize that the user has been logged out, and then it will say, hey, user is null now, and redirect to sign in page. So let's do that now. Sign out, and boom, that's gone. If I reload, you will see that user is signed out, by the way, and that's what we logged over here. And also the user is null now, which this is where it's being logged in the on auth state change. So if I reload it over here again, now it's going to take us to the sign in page. Sometimes I see this white screen over here when I'm logged out in development, so I just need to close and reopen it. It's gonna take us to that sign in page because we have logged out and the session is revoked now and the user is null. So sign in and sign out, sign up and sign out are taken care of now. Let's do sign in. So with sign in right now, with the logic, again very similar to sign up. The only difference is the function that we use, and instead of create with user and password, we're gonna use the sign in with user and password. And I have to bring in the auth library over here, and also alert from React Native. So if we don't have a user or there's a problem, authentication failed, it's gonna show us an alert. So let's do that. I'm gonna do like a at z.com instead of b, and then just a random password. This is gonna say authentication failed, invalid credentials. So you don't want to give them more than this, like detail here, there is no user, or your password is wrong. Just like for sign up, they need to know a little bit more if like the email address is already in use or the email address is invalid. But sign in, you just tell them credentials are wrong. So with that, I will fix it to a at b.com, and then for the password also, I need to get rid of this. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, sign in, and that actually does redirect us to the page, to the main application. I can do reload, and it is still going to show us the main application. Now there is one single problem, and that is something that you might not need to really handle, but a lot of cases you might have like admins that can delete users from the like Firebase console, or just you have an admin dashboard that you're using Firebase admin SDK to delete users. Let's say I delete this user over here and that's deleted. Now I don't have the user here and I don't want them to have access to app anymore. But if I do R here and reload the page, the user is still logged in here and they have access to that. So what's happening here is that on this auth state change, if we let's take a look at a few other things that we can access through Firebase. So through this auth function, we also have access to other things like the token that we get. This is the token that will let the device know, hey, the user is valid, and we can actually access the value using the auth.current user.get ID token, and I'm just console logging it over here. Inside that token, you will see that the auth time was today basically 8:40. That's like 2 minutes before when I created the user, and then there is expiration date of 9:40 p.m. here. So these tokens are valid for 1 hour. After 1 hour, if they open the app, it's going to retry to log in, and then it's not going to find it in Firebase, and then it's going to say, hey, you've been logged out. But there's 1 hour that they can do whatever they want to do potentially. So if you really want to log them out on the front end side, as soon as their account is deleted, we can actually add another logic over here this still probably if they they close and reopen the app within the hour will be taken into effect. But if they don't close the app at all, still they're gonna stay logged in. So I'm just gonna copy this logic over here. Let me update this whole function. So for the onAuth change function, I am adding a little bit more to it. First of all, I'm adding a loading state because I noticed when I sign in or sign up, there is, for example, when I sign up, it switches the sign-in screen before it shows the main screen here. So you need to add this loading state to take care of while it's logging us signing up, or like maybe when you're signing out, you don't see screens that you're not really supposed to see. And with that, what I'm doing is, if I am in the loading state, I just want to show a, right below this initialization, if I'm in a loading state, I'm going to just show a activity indicator in the middle of this screen. So if it's loading, I will return that. Otherwise, it's going to go to the next return, which is our application. And I'm setting that loading originally to true, but also when auth state changes, I need to set that to true. And when I'm done with everything, I'm setting that to false. You see in multiple places here. And then also I have this alert, which I need to import. So what happens here is that when the auth state changes, meaning if we sign out, for example, or at the beginning when the user opens the app, we check the user. Now, if originally if they had been deleted from our account over here, they could still, the user is still there, so they would be logged in and they would have access to app. But now we're actually reloading the user, the current user data, just one more time before we actually let them to log in. And then if they are still valid user, then we're gonna set the user as user, set loading false, and then they're gonna be redirected to the application. If the account has been deleted over here, but we have information stored in the local storage with the token ID and everything, we're gonna fall into this catch statement here. And that's where the user is gonna see, hey, there is no user record corresponding to you. You can modify this message. Obviously, the user may have been deleted, so they're gonna see that. And then we can also get rid of this one. We don't really need this at this point. I'll just comment this out. This was just so you see the token. But then if there is no user, it will be also setting the user to null, and loading will be set to false. So with this catch also, it figures out that the user state is changed, and also again in here we'll see that the user is, it's gonna invoke this again, and the user will be null, and then we will be basically going to the null here, which is the sign-in screen. So the logic is like that. I'm gonna save it here. Now here you see there is no user record corresponding because it tried to check against the database and didn't find anything here with this reload function, and then it's saying there is no user, so sign them out even before the 1 hour that their token was going to expire, since they probably closed and reopened the app within that hour, and the app told them that, hey, this is what's happening over here. So since we have this console error over here, you can see that actually what error happened, user not found. This is just the error that I actually copied and pasted to show as the alert, because in production they won't see these console errors. They will see the alert that you will show to them. So with that, this whole logic should be good. So we can sign up, we can sign in, and then we also added the sign out. And then if we refresh the page or reload the app, if we were signed in, it's gonna stay signed in, and so on. So while we were taking care of the logic and showing everything on Android, the iOS build is also done. I'm gonna go to EAS expo.dev and then click download here. It's gonna download this tar.gz file, double click on it, and it's going to unzip or basically give you this install file. You can just drag and drop it into your iOS simulator and wait for it to install. So it's installed now. You can see that. And I'm going to restart the server over here, npx expo dev client, and this time I'm gonna hit the I key to open it on iOS. And so the logic we already took care of that. So hopefully now we should see the sign in screen because we are not logged in on this app. And we do see that there is some differences in the UI. I'm not going to spend time on that. Sometimes this happens, so I'll let you guys take care of that. But for the sign in, if I change this, you'll see that it actually fixes itself. So something that is a little bit weird to me. If you figure out why this is happening, let me know. But again, I don't have an account currently since I deleted that account, so I need to go to the create account, sign up. I'm gonna do a@z.com this time, and then for password I'll do just 1 2 3 4 5 6 over here, sign up, and then that's the loading. That's going to go to our application over here. User is logged out, and the user is logged in, and you see the information here, and you should see the user here. We can go to profile, sign out, and it's going to sign us out, and then I can sign in again, a@z.com, and then the 6 letters over here. If I don't type all of them, I get authentication failed. So I had 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. I do Y as well. Sign in, and then we're signed in. This was error for the sign out. Console.errors won't show up on the production, so that's why we use the alerts to show the issues to the user when they're signing in or signing out. So now we're signed in again, and the whole thing with deleting should also work. So I can delete this account, delete it, and then the next time they open the app or as I reload this over here, they have to be taken out, and they see that there is no user record corresponding. So the user may have been deleted. The same logic that we used for Android, it applies here as well. So everything works same way on iOS as well. Alright, thank you all for watching this relatively long video. I hope you learned, and now you know how you can set up Firebase with your Expo application. This can be a really good starting point for any project that you plan to do. If you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also if you have any questions, let me know in the comment box below the video, and please also turn the notification bell on so you're notified when I publish new videos. Alright, thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.